Hello and welcome to Romantasy Readers Podcast. My name is Nicole and I am joined by someone very special and prestigious today. We have a very special guest, but who is also the co-host of this podcast, but she is here today as a aspiring author. We have Allie, or as she is known in the publishing world, Alexandria Arden. Welcome and congratulations on your first published book. Oh my gosh.
I know. It's like so weird and surreal to be like here as an author.
I know.
I'm not a co-host. I'm an author today.
You have officially achieved the dream that so many of us have, particularly as we start bookstagrams and that. How many of us love these books, love these worlds, and think, gosh, a dream would be to write a book myself, to actually write one. Now, for most of us, maybe we occasionally pull out our PC and we get a couple of thousand words down before we get stuck. But for Allie, she actually absolutely annihilated it and then wrote an entire massive, is it 150,000 words? Is that how many?
207,000 words.
Yeah.
She's a long book.
Yeah. Allie delivered. She delivered.
Yeah.
And I can say I was very lucky. I was very fortunate to be one of the first people that was able to read one of your beta readers for the first book that you sort of released. And, when it really is amazing. You really are such a talent. And I think I can already see in a lot of the reviews, people saying that you do not come across as a brand new author. You come across as someone that is highly trained and experienced, and you've delivered us an amazing world. So
I'm just making it up as I go.
Just fake it till you make it. So tell us, how did this journey start? How did this book come to be? Tell us a bit about it.
Well, its origin stories are this podcast, actually. So I don't know if you remember this, but last summer we were interviewing Saskia from the Sassverse, who we love.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, that ended up being like a 3-part episode because we just chatted with her for like 4 hours or something. And we were all complaining in that episode about how the FMCs are always these like 20-year-olds, and none of us had any capabilities to do anything at 20 years old. And I remember thinking, like, maybe I should just try to write a book. Like, literally that day, I was like, should I just try this? And then that night, I took a bath, as
you do.
I do. Talked many times about this. And I just sat down and I said, well, why don't I just like see like let me just like start thinking of it, And then slowly over the course of the next couple of weeks, every time I was in the bathtub, I was just like on my phone, kind of like thinking through things. And then I just had the idea, and then I just decided to start writing out of the blue, randomly.
And I think, tell us a bit about that first idea that really came to you, that really made you go, oh, wow, I think there's something here. And I think you've spoken of this before, and it was a little bit about this FMC and that she's not this young FMC. And maybe just tell us a bit about it. I won't give it away. I'll let you do your little spiel so you can deliver it.
Yeah. It's like every time I do this, I get better at it. Or I think I do. Maybe I'm getting worse. So I wanted to write an FMC that was kind of different from what we historically experience, especially in like fae high fantasy. And so Laurel, the FMC, is 320 years old.
Mm-hmm.
She is a fae queen. She already knows how to use her power. There is no like, I'm trying to learn my power here.
She's maxed it. Yeah.
Fully realized, mature, older, morally gray. She's the morally gray one. She's plus size, which, we love a curvy girl. She loves glam. No, like, I mean, she will wear like her hair in a braid and tunics, but like when she's training, but no, like, oh, I only wear a braid and I hate makeup kind of girl.
Yeah,
here.
no. She's full like, oh no, I'm doing a full face, lips, hair, whole eyes. Yeah.
So different from me. Like, I don't even have makeup on right now. And we're recording a podcast. I just hit my microphone. But she, loves a red lip. She loves to dress for the occasion. She loves to scare people. And very early on, I also kind of decided that I wanted to kind of write her, at least initially, as like the female version of Rhysand from ACOTAR.
Yes.
So the whole world is kind of convinced that she's this evil thing, and they call her the Witch Queen. And that's a lot of that is because nobody's been able to come into or out of her kingdom for 300 years, similar to the Night Court. So there's all these rumors about her kingdom and what's there and what's going on. And so everyone is afraid of her. Everyone has kind of villainized her, similar to how, we meet Rhysand in the first ACOTAR. And then when you meet her, it turns out that her kingdom is thriving. And there's been a lot of things that she's been keeping secret, and she leans into this persona and she lets the world hate her as a way to protect her people. And that's kind of who she is. And then the other thing that I very early on really wanted to do was I wanted to show her being a like prophesied chosen one, but then losing. So the book, this is my special author copy with all of my, like, as I'm writing book 2, all the things that I have to remember.
Annotations you need to come back to.
Yeah. And so it starts with the prologue. She is 20 in the prologue. So we meet her as like what we typically get. She's in the big bad epic war that she's supposed to win. And then she loses. And then chapter 1 starts 300 years later.
So it's almost like that, like, Aelin kind of moment where she's meant to defeat, the bad guys, and then it actually fails. Doesn't work. Which is such a thing you can connect to, this belief. And because how many of us in all the books, it's like when you finally do that, they always win. Well, in real life, that doesn't always happen. Sometimes you make mistakes, sometimes you fail. And it's about how you respond to that, how you get back up, how life changes. And I think exploring that is really, really interesting. Then obviously we have the introduction of Hawthorne, her potential love interest.
Potential. So she is realizing that there's some things going wrong. Like there's the magic of her kingdom is like kind of declining, and that's kind of like what incites change, right? Because she's been kind of living her life.
She's been living for 300 years this way. She's like, life is fine. I don't need to mess with anything. Yeah.
Except something wonky is going on with the magic. And so she goes to this, like, they have every 10 years, the leaders of this world have like a forum where they get together. And the person who beat her in the prologue, his name is Mazis, he's still alive. He's still around. And she has to continue to interact with him, which is also like so true. Like sometimes people beat us or something happens and we still have to live with that trauma on a regular basis. And so she goes to this forum where he's there, and then all of a sudden he's like, oh, let's just trade emissaries. I'm so noble and good. I just want to, repair our kingdom's history. And of course, nobody believes that. And she doesn't believe it, but she's like, okay, well, something's happening to my magic. I could trade emissaries, and maybe somebody could go and see if they can figure out, because this other kingdom, Romara, has amazing archives. Try to figure it out. And so Mazis sends his son. So this is the son of her enemy sent to her kingdom, and she vows that she's not even going to meet him. She's just going to let her advisors handle him. She's not going to meet him because he has a reputation for being a flirt and a serial bachelor, and he just loves to gamble and go to prostitute dens, and he's also engaged, so she's like,
she loves him. She's like, I don't need no man like that in my life. I am perfectly happy here with me and my giant cat.
Exactly. And but it's a romantasy, so we all know how that goes.
Exactly. No, and I think what you were saying was so interesting about the world and the magic system, and obviously that something's kind of going wrong, and how protective she's been of her world until now. But I think it makes a lot of sense that obviously at this point she's gone, we only have so much knowledge. My only option from here is to try to go further afield and try and find out if my enemies have the knowledge that I need as to what's going on with the magic and things like that. So I think there's this really interesting, I think from reading this, and we're obviously not going to give really spoilers away today. This is just introducing the book, but we get that idea that the political intrigue is massively high. The world building, the political intrigue. Like if that is your sort of thing, if you love that in a book, then this book is 100% for you, because you love just kind of throwing all that in there and really just creating this really rich world.
Yeah. Obviously, you guys, if you listen to this podcast regularly, you know that I love theories. I love really deep politics. I love really deep, intrigue and like mystery. And so, to the best of my ability as a first-time author, I tried to build that into this book. And I think if you listen to this podcast, you're probably a big theorizer. If you know where to look, the ending of the 5-book series is in book 1. The way that the series is going to end is in the first book. And yeah, there is one particular Easter egg that is like 3 levels of Easter eggs, I think, at least. I mean, maybe other people will, like, once I reveal it, they'll be like, it's not that complex. But there is one particular Easter egg that is literally like, you might catch onto it and think it's hinting at something for book 1, and then be like, oh, maybe it's actually hinting this thing for book 2, but actually it's hinting something for the end of the series.
I'm like, now that's like, what was it? Oh my gosh. Now I need to really go and reread it. I'm not
telling. My lips are sealed. I'm not even telling people.
I know, but it's super fun to know that you have plotted right from, you got your whole 5 series plot, but you're now going back and making sure that a few of those Easter eggs are there in book 1. So that is very, very exciting.
Yes.
Exciting. So
I know the end of every single book in the 5-book series. I know the titles. I know the color I want the cover to be. I know, and I kind of know I didn't necessarily like think that I was setting out to do this, but it's just how it became. I think it's a very character-driven story. I think a lot of the journey that we're going on matches the journey that the characters need to go on emotionally. And I also know kind of like the emotional journey that the characters are going on every single book, which I think helps a lot, because I feel like it can help drive, like the emotions of the characters come first before the plot in my mind.
Yes, exactly. Which I'm very character driven. I feel like for me to have buy-in to a book, I need to have that connection to the characters where I'm invested in them. I'm invested in their journey and where they're going. And I'm sure that's a somewhat interesting thing to explore when, obviously part of the reason that our FMCs are always 20 and have no skills yet, apart from they suddenly inherit this amazing magic and they now have to go on this journey with that, is because that obviously makes for a very interesting story, because we see all that character growth and development, because they start from a place where they don't have anything and they have to start from the beginning. But of course, in this case, we've got Laurel, who is, as you say, over 300 years old. She's maxed her power. She's obviously been unsuccessful for this war, and now she's kept herself very, protected in her own realm. And how did you go, I guess, with building those characters out when they were maybe already somewhat developed from a not being young and youthful and inexperienced with everything and needing to learn everything already? How did you go with that character journey?
Yeah. I think for me, at least, Laurel and her flaws were always very clear to me, because I sort of thought of myself as, like, really understood Laurel. I had a very strong understanding of who she is and kind of what it would do to someone who was raised to think that they were going to like save the world and then they didn't, and kind of what that would do to you and how you would react to the world. But I really had to, it was challenging to make sure that came across and make her very likable. I think I struggled in some of the early drafts with making her likable enough. People, and even now, I've had people who don't like, they just don't love Laurel, and that's okay. But then I really had to like dig deep into some of the other characters to make sure I understood their flaws. Like Hawthorne initially, probably even in like the first draft that you read, came across as maybe a little too perfect, but also then not like,
he was a total cinnamon roll. He was such a cinnamon roll.
Cinnamon roll. Yeah.
I was like, Allie, please give him like some arm veins and like I need him to throw around a bit more or something. Like,
Yeah, yeah, and he does now. I
yay.
say the draft, the first draft that Nicole read was like 150,000 words. The final draft is 207, and
It's
those 50,000
amazing.
words were mostly just forearms. So
Yeah, yeah. So every time, guys, that you read about forearms and stuff, just you're welcome.
it's
Okay.
Nicole. It's Nicole.
I was just like, Allie, I need this in the book. Please add it. And she
Yeah,
delivered. So
I did. I added
I'm very
forearms. I
thankful.
will also say for longtime listeners of this podcast, there's like a little kind of like an Easter egg or like clue in the spice scenes. So if you know this podcast, you know that I'm a hot spring girl. Nicole is a hot and like a wintry kind of like cold in the hot spring girl, and Nicole is like a hot, humid, tropical girl. And you get both spice scenes in this book. And I put the tropical scene in there for Nicole specifically.
I was so thankful when I got to the part. I knew you were delivering this for me, and I was like, "Oh my gosh!" It's like it felt like romantic almost. It was just
Yeah.
like, "Oh, this whole part's for me. This is so special," and it was delivered beautifully. So
Yeah. And there's also like so many Easter eggs there. I'm just like giving people a clue now that like that scene you think it's hot and
okay.
spicy, but you should pay attention.
That is very interesting. And I love that because that's often something we've spoken about with like what we love about Sarah J. Maas is that she
Yeah.
sometimes throws Easter eggs into very spicy parts of her books, like Akasif, and she covers it all up with spice. So these Easter eggs are there and we fail to notice them because we're too busy paying attention to all the spices happening and the
Yeah.
chemistry that's happening
Yeah.
between the characters. So I
I
love
would
that you've done
definitely
that.
say that's a quality of SJM that I admire and tried to do.
I love that. I love that so much. So, how did you go about building this story? What was some of your writing process? I guess you've spoken a little bit about it being character driven, but did you want to tell us a bit more about what that process was like for you?
Yeah, you know, when it first started, I literally was just like, "I'm just gonna start writing."
Mhm.
And so I had, like, I knew I was gonna have this, like, prologue where she's 20, so I, like, wrote that, and, like, I gave it to my husband, and he was like, "Okay, this is not bad, like, you
Yeah.
should maybe keep going." And then I was like, "Okay, well, why don't I just have, like, the first kinda scene of the main character, Laurel?" And then, just kind of initially I just started writing, and I think, like, if anyone out there, not that you're asking for my advice, but if you're looking for advice, just start writing, and see where it leads you. Eventually, I had to make a point where I was like, "Okay, I'm actually really doing this, like, let me plot it out." And I will say, like, I knew from the beginning how the book was gonna end. I had some really key pivotal scenes that I had really imagined in my head, but getting the in between was the hardest part for me.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. And I
and
Yeah. And I remember us, I think while you were writing this, we spoke about Rebecca Yaros shared her way she does it. And she does this
yeah,
like sticker, this like post-it note stickers for like whether there's I don't know whether it was like romance, action,
world
all these
building.
different
Yeah.
political intrigue. And she always made sure that each chapter had one of those things in it to keep it interesting. I remember you saying you were going to try that
I
method
I did
yourself.
that. Yeah, I did that. I think it worked really well. I did do that, and really because I wanted to make sure that the plot kind of moved, and it doesn't move like in the same way that like Fourth Wing does. But I do think things are happening pretty regularly. And I did do that. I was like, okay, I want to make sure that it's either has romance, has world building, has action, and I wanted to make sure that there was never too long in between action scenes. That was
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
biggest thing that I really tried to do, and it kind of challenged me to like add more action along the way that I maybe wouldn't have done otherwise.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And because, yeah, I think one of the things I felt, when I read your book, and I felt that the most similar, I would have said, was something between Danielle L. Jensen for the political intrigue aspect, because she's all about that political intrigue. I thought that was
Yeah,
so similar. And then probably Sarah J. Maas, like the kind of that really high level fantasy, the complexity of the characters, the complexity and the eloquence of the world. I think that if those are two kind of authors that you love to read, I think you will really love Allie's style of writing and what she's done. With, of course, those little epigraphs that you have at the start of
Yeah.
every chapter, a little bit similar to Fourth Wing. That was so cool. And was that an ode to Fourth Wing deciding to do that? Or
Yeah, definitely. It was definitely an ode to Fourth Wing, and it was like, I really wanted to make a book that people could theorize about, because I just find so much joy in doing that, and we obviously
yeah,
have
this is
done
the whole
done
reason for
that.
our
We love
podcast.
doing that, and so I wanted to make a book that people could theorize about, and so one of the best ways I knew to do that was through the epigraphs, because I feel like so much of the theories from SJM, or not from SJM, from Rebecca Yarros and from Fourth Wing, come from those epigraphs.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah.
and some of them are really important and some of them aren't, and you kind of have to decide which ones are which.
Yeah, yeah. And I have to ask, going back to what we were talking about before with the plotting and things like that, when you're writing, did you, and this is for my own knowledge really, if I'm like maybe trying to write a book and I'm getting stuck here and there, because I am. So would you literally plot out every little thing, or did you sort of just plot out the big points and then you sort of allow that freedom of your writing to kind of see how you kind of got there? Because I don't know, what I find myself is I'll start writing, and even if I have a plan, sometimes that plan gets, probably as per this podcast, sometimes gets thrown out the door because all of a sudden
Yeah.
I get creative and suddenly my character was meant to be going off to the lake or to the hotel with one bed, and now suddenly we're off having a whole different kind of adventure because I just, a new idea came into my head and now I've just changed
Yeah,
direction.
yeah, yeah. No, I definitely I let myself go wherever it kind of needed to go. And sometimes that ended up going way better than what, I had initially thought. And sometimes it ended up not, but it was like important for me to have written that and then I cut it.
Mm-hmm.
Um but for the most part I kept my plotting or my outlining really high level and kind of let things evolve. And it's so interesting because it's it's like I can't tell if, like, there's just these things that are subconscious in my brain, or, like, there's just something to do with the creative process, but then there would be things later on that I had no idea that I was leading to, but I was like, "Oh my god, I've already laid, like, all the foreshadowing for that." So,
Yeah.
like, of course that's how, and, like, I had never occurred to me that it was going there.
Yeah.
And I'm writing book 2 right now, and 2 characters are getting together that I did
Did not
not
plan
plan
on.
for whatsoever, like, not in my head at all. And then, like, they were, like, interacting, and I was like, "Holy shit, this banter is amazing."
Yeah.
Um, and then I, like, went back and looked at book 1, and I was like, "Wait a minute, like, there is foreshadowing for this relationship," you know?
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
it's like,
It
yeah,
doesn't surprise me whatsoever though, so I know I've heard Sarah J. Maas say the same thing. Many authors say the same thing, that sometimes it's like the characters are picking their own relationships, that
yeah,
you think you plan to put two characters together and they just don't gel. And then vice versa. You sometimes, I think she spoke about throwing Cassian and Nesta into a room together and they were just firing at each other. And she was like, oh, okay, this is happening. It's
this is
similar
the
kind of
thing,
thing. It
yeah.
can just, it's almost like the characters come to life.
They did, yeah, it really shocked me as I was writing book 2, and I was like, "Okay, I guess this is where it's going," and I'm like, I'm having to adjust some of my plans, but it's so much better because this banter is just, like, flowing out of me, and I find the hardest thing for me to write is the banter for whatever
Mhm.
reason. I can write the spice, no problem. It's the, like, sexually charged banter that's harder, and so if that's naturally flowing, like, who am I to say, "No, you
Yeah,
guys
we're
can't be
not gonna
together?"
complain about this, you let that flow.
Yeah, exactly.
So, what has the publishing and the self-publishing kind of experience been like for you? Like, you've obviously made the decision to do this independently. How have you
Yeah,
found that process?
hard.
I'm sure it is.
So I was on it. I've done a bunch of like TikTok lives, and I always get some like version of like, was it hard to write the book? And like, yeah, it was hard to write the book, but it was way harder to figure out how to publish it. Writing the book was easy compared to figuring out how to publish it.
Yeah.
And it's part of why, the podcast has like not been as frequent and all of those things. It's just been, there's just so much to figure out. And and it's not even as simple as like, okay, get a cover, get it formatted. There's just so much more to it. So figuring that out, I've made a lot of mistakes along the way. um in fact, there are some like a couple of people, and they happen to be people that I know, thankfully, but a couple of people, if they ordered my book on like release day, it said like at the top where it normally has like the title is set Amazon file because I didn't
Oh,
realize that like a certain piece of metadata was gonna impact
oh my
the
gosh.
file in that way. I mean, it's like silly things like that you just don't know until you go through those hiccups.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You
So
just
and then
need
of course now I'm dealing with marketing, and that's a
yeah.
whole other thing.
It's a huge thing, and this is obviously why so many people hope to get the opportunity to, get signed with a traditional publisher so that
Yeah.
they have that expertise behind them. There's probably almost a need, isn't there, for just like services for independent writers to assist
Yeah.
them with this process. Okay, you're not signed by a big publisher, maybe you're doing it yourself, but you need a little bit of a leg up to say, how do I find an editor? Like, and you might even be willing to pay for everything. You're just like, I need to know, how do I print a book? How do I get on Amazon? How do I, you have to admit, like, as you say, it's normally our first issue is just writing the book. But yes, say you've written it, you suddenly go, wow, I have the next throne of glass sitting right here beside me. How on earth do I print it? How on earth do I get
Yeah.
it out there? I'm
Yeah.
sure there's a
Yeah.
whole podcast worth of information just on that.
Yes, I know. And I keep saying like, okay, I'm going to make a guide for people, because like I want to be helpful with the knowledge, but
That
I
will
also have
be
to
your
find the
book that
time to
will
do
go
that.
insane. A guide for independent publishing of books. That
Yeah.
will sell off like hotcakes.
I know, but I need the time, I mean,
Yeah, yeah,
it's just
yeah.
hard. But it takes a lot of insight. And oh, there
Do
was
you
something I
have
was going to
any
say.
do you have any advice for anyone, any pieces of advice for anyone that is starting out and maybe just needs that first step of like what direction to go in, or what might be some really good pointers to think about if they are planning to independently publish?
The one of the best things that I did early on is I knew an indie author here local in Utah, and so I like offered to take her out to lunch and like pick her brain, and I just wrote a lot of things down. And I just took really detailed notes because I was like, I know that half of this stuff isn't like going to stick in my brain because I don't even have the book finished,
Mhm,
but I
yeah.
want to make sure I have that information for the future. And that was really helpful. So if you know indie authors, asking them, because I think many of like us, them are really nice and are willing to share the information. We have so much else going on that it's not like, it doesn't occur to us to just be constantly sharing that info. And then the other thing is like saving enough time from when the book is final to when you're publishing. I think that was the biggest mistake I made is my book wasn't finished being proofread until like May 1st, and my pub date was May 27th. So I had to squeeze a lot in. And again, there's amazing benefits to being an independent author. There is no way in the world a publisher would have let me have my debut novel be 207,000 words. That would not have happened. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
I would have
yeah.
had to cut things out and not felt like the story was the story that I wanted to tell. Would have
Mhm.
had to cut out, I think, a lot of the like emotional character part of it. Um, and there's no way the book would even be out by now. Like the book would still be going through all the processes and,
Mhm.
the marketing and the proofreading. Like I started writing this book the first week of June and I published it May 27th. I did it
Yeah.
in less than a year. That would never
Wow, well
happen if I had been
done.
picky.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So there's a lot of benefits, but there's also a lot of challenges.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, and I'm sure many people out there, we are just so appreciative that you managed to create this. It really is such a sensational book, guys. I'm not just saying it because Ali is my co-host and I love her. It really is an amazing book. I started reading it and I was like, Oh man, I'm like, all right. So like the expectation on me now, if I ever write anything, is right up here because Ali just went and just like delivered like an ACOTAR and was like, there you go. It's like, oh, okay. Like it really, really
Everyone has
is.
different, we all love different kinds of books, and we love them
I
all.
will write a total vibes book. It'll probably be full of plot holes, but it'll be a raging good time. Hopefully just entertainment plus and yeah. But
And that was Nicole had to be like, Allie, you need more forearm vibes, okay? Like
yeah, exactly.
you have the world building, but there's no forearms. So you got to do that.
Yeah,
And that's
exactly.
great.
I mean,
Honestly,
I've
it
got
was really great.
priorities here, and I require like muscular forearms, like holding her, protecting her, whatever it might be, rescuing her, preferably. Thank you so much. So yeah, I'm just all about. I was her assistant when it came to like throwing in a few of the vibes to just make sure it's there for the readers. We know what's important, so
Yeah.
yes.
And there's like there's definitely, I definitely did many more like wall leans after in that next draft, like more, he cages her against a wall and she senses his forearms and his muscle or his jaw feathering and like
People are going to be like, why are there so many forearms in this book?
I know.
No, it's so exciting, and I'm just wishing you every success. It really does deserve it. I hope that this is the start of an amazing author career, and I can't wait to find out about the next book. Do you have any more information, or have you set yourself any tentative dates that you want to try and get the next book done by, or are you giving yourself some time in case it's a slow process?
I really want to publish book 2 this year. I do think it's possible because so much of my time the last year was actually spent on figuring out the publishing part and finding an editor and figuring out like how many beta readers do I really need, and so I actually think I am capable of delivering it a lot faster this time around. I will say, I wrote the first draft of book 1 in 6 weeks. I don't have that same fervor
That's
that I did.
intense.
Yeah. So, again, if it is published this year, it'll be like late November, early December, but it's probably going
That's
to be more
that's
like
only
early
like
June.
that is less than 6 months away,
Yeah.
Ali. Like
Yeah.
that's a tall order. I mean, if you manage that, that's amazing. But I think if you end up being like early next year or even like May next year, I would say 12 months is very acceptable.
Yeah.
So yes,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah. And
amazing to set that goal.
I will set a published date when the first draft is done. And the
Yeah.
first draft is not done. And that's kind of like I've never written a second book. I've only written a first book. So I have no idea
Exactly,
how
learning.
long a second book will take me to write.
Well, if you need any advice, any bulging muscular forearms and
I
assistance,
know where to
I
come.
am your girl. You know where to come. All
Yeah.
right. As per all our author interviews, it seems fitting that I should ask Ali our author questions and we should play our little author game. What do you think,
Yeah,
Ali?
I'm
Would
so
you like to
excited.
be the rapid fire question what we give to our authors?
I love it. I'm so excited.
Okay. All right.
Let's do
Okay,
it.
in no particular order. What is your favorite type of MMC? Hero, morally grey, or a villain?
I like a morally gray.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And
villain. I mean, villain when well done, but morally gray is my sweet spot.
okay, yes. Because very interesting because with Hawthorne, you've kind of almost gone more of the hero route with
I
him, would you
have. Yeah,
say?
I know, right? It's interesting.
But
I
it's
wonder if that's gonna like maybe shift or something in the future. I don't know.
oh, interesting. Okay, there's more complexities there. And of course, you've also got the morally grey with your FMC. So we
Yeah,
always have to play it up a bit, don't we?
yeah,
All right.
yeah.
Do you like a happy ending where everyone lives happily ever after or a tragic ending that breaks the reader's soul into a million pieces?
Happy ending for the last book in the series,
Yeah.
but I want tragedy for every book in between.
Yeah. Exactly.
I love a cliffhanger.
There has to be a lot of pain
A
before the
lot of pain.
payoff.
You have to
Always.
earn the payout. You have to earn the happy ending. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Do you prefer a magical FMC with no physical strength or a physically strong MMC with no magic?
Give me that magic all day,
Yeah.
baby. I
Mhm.
want the magic.
Mhm. And you seem like you've actually brought a little bit of both of those things to Laurel. Like, she's obviously extremely magical, but she also can kick ass too, if I recall
Yeah,
correctly.
she can. Yeah, she can. She's a pretty good fighter. Mhm.
Mhm. Mhm. Okay.
Yep. I mean, she's been around for 300 years,
Yeah,
you know? Like,
exactly.
what would you do for 300 years if
Exactly. At
not, like,
some point, you've learned
learn
how
to
to
wield a
wield a
sword?
sword and various other
Yeah.
things.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. What is your ultimate MMC physical looks? Tall, dark, and rugged, or blonde, chiseled with piercing blue eyes?
I think we know the answer to
I
this one,
I
tall,
know.
dark, and rugged.
I know. And does Hawthorne meet this? Actually, what is his characteristics? How tall is he? What is his eyes? Like,
Yeah.
give us a real
Yeah,
picture of
yeah.
Hawthorne.
He is he's not the tallest MMC or sorry, the tallest character. There is someone named Fionn who is a best friend. There's a lot of Fionn stands out there. So Fionn is like, let's say Fionn is like 7 feet tall.
Oh.
Fionn's like a Viking warrior.
Mhm.
Hawthorne is maybe like 6'5".
Okay.
Like that perfect, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
6'5", dark hair, perfectly tousled. I think of him as looking very similar to, like, Dorian, and
Yes.
being pretty similar to Dorian. This is kind of like Dorian and Manon fanfic, honestly, if I'm being honest with myself, because they
Yes.
call each other Witchling and Princeling. The magic is very different, but the personalities and there's a lot of similarities to that. And then he has dark green eyes.
Yes. Very good. Very, and your 6'5" is still pretty impressive. And you know what?
Yeah,
And this is coming from someone that I'm 5'10" and my husband's 6'4", and like my whole family is like 7 foot tall. Sometimes when you get really tall, you actually lose agility. Like, you just
yeah,
generally,
yeah,
you're just not as agile. So you kind of want to be in that sweet spot where they're tall and big, but they still can be very athletic and very fast and very
yeah,
agile.
yeah,
Obviously when you get to kind of 7 foot, you start to almost become like a giant dog in that you get a bit like it's harder to be agile in the same
yeah.
way.
You're like a
You have a lot of
Saturn.
strength,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's hard to move big,
And
massive bodies around.
Travis Kelce's 6'5". So, like,
Mhm.
I had to, like, yeah, I feel like he's
Or
kind of like he's like the perfect size. Like, that's Hawthorne is like 6'5", but he's built, but not like Viking warrior like Fionn, but
yeah, yeah,
he works
very good.
out.
Nice, nice. Okay. If you could be someone from your books or book for one day, who would you be and why?
I just wanna be Laurel because
Yeah.
she's so freaking
She's so
powerful. She can do everything. She has every magic that so just so people know, the magic of this world is elemental, so you have to, like, access the aether, which is the magic, through some kind of conduit, and those conduits are elemental with the addition of metal and light.
Mhm,
And Laurel can do them all.
mhm,
She has every possible magic. So, like, why wouldn't I want to be her?
mhm. Yep,
Yeah.
yep. No, I wholeheartedly, and she lives a really awesome life as well. Like, you have not made her world an unpleasant world to be in. Like,
No.
it was all beautiful, like pillows and throws, and she can like set the magic so that it's always a nice temperature, and she's got a giant cat, lion,
Yeah.
whatever it was, tiger companion. She's living a very, I don't, you can kind of see why she's might be like living in solitude for 300 years, but it's been a pretty nice solitude.
Yeah. This is why she doesn't wanna go anywhere. She's
Yeah.
like, why would I leave? Everything's perfect." She can heat the tiles of her room. She does this in chapter 1. She heats the tiles of her room because she's like, "I don't wanna step on a cold floor because she's so powerful. Why wouldn't you? I would
Exactly.
if I had magic, I would exclusively use it to give myself just small little luxuries like that.
Yes, 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 exactly. All right. What is your favorite thing about the world you created?
I honestly, probably like, all of the lore and the, like, revisionist history about it.
Mhm.
Um, eh, there's so much that you are learning that I think you're learning without realizing you're learning.
Yeah.
I think that those epigraphs in some ways are, dare I say it, at least in my opinion, maybe even a little bit deeper than, like, the epigraphs of Fourth Wing. Some of them are incredibly revealing about the series.
Mm,
So,
very
and like that to
interesting.
me, again, like I'm such a fantasy reader. Like I love the magic, you know, I could say the magic, I could say the characters, but that's what I'm proud of. I'm proud of the like world building and the Easter eggs.
That's amazing. That's
Yeah.
amazing. Okay. What is your favorite non-bookish activity? What do you like to do when you are not writing or reading?
Well, I feel like most people on this podcast know, but I love a bath. I
Mhm.
love a hot
Same.
spring. I love
Mhm.
to just be in a body of water. It doesn't really matter what body of water it is. I also love house. I like working on my house. I like
Mhm.
to decorate. I
And you
like
do all
to
your beautiful
clean my
garden, you
house.
plant flowers and
Yeah, I
everything.
like doing gardening. I'm really like an indoor cat. I like things around my home.
Mhm. 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 No, I love it. I love it. I've become that way, like, the older I get, the more I'm just like, I have no interest in going anywhere. I actually just wanna chill at home with a book, happy little cozy place, like, that's all I need
Yeah,
in life. That's all I
yeah,
need to be happy. I'm not that difficult to please.
no.
Mm,
Especially if give me an audiobook and I'll just like be content walking around the house all day.
mhm.
I'll like work on any chore. I did laundry literally all day today and I was happy as a clam because
Oh,
I was
beautiful,
listening
beautiful.
to an
Alright.
audiobook.
I probably already have some of these answers. I already probably know them, but I'm gonna ask them anyway. What is your favorite trope and what is your least favorite trope?
Favorite trope, a hot spring. I love a hot
Yay!
spring. I love a trope with a hot spring. I will give a different answer. I also love slow burn romance. I love it when I think when we interviewed Penn Cole, she was like, I love it when the spice is like emotionally connected to the characters.
Yes,
And
100%.
and it's like you really gotta wait for it, and I don't make you wait as long as the Spark of the Everflame series, you get to it in book 1, but I do still make you wait, and, I love that.
You actually need to. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I've
yeah,
definitely been reading a few high spice books recently, and it can it's really important that it's delivered the right way, and preferably
yeah,
I think we both do. We love a high fantasy book. We really do love a book that is actually so much about the story, and the romance is gonna come later. I have to admit, even with a sort of the book that I am somewhat writing on and off, I would have thought that I might throw that spice in really quickly, and I find myself going, I don't even know if I'm going to get to the spice in book one because I'm
yeah,
just not there yet with the characters. It's like when I want
yeah,
it to hit, I want it to hit. Like I
hit,
want it to
yeah,
be mind blowing in multiple ways, and I don't know if they're going to be emotionally there at the end of book one. Hence, I don't know. So then I'm kind of like, okay, am I going to throw in a different character then? Am I going to have that maybe there's a romance before the romance because I
yeah,
need to get that in there without while still wanting to provide that slow burn for because as I say, I feel like with multiple book series, you kind of need that build up. So,
yeah, yeah.
Allie, that just made me kind of go, wait, I mean, because my favorite trope is the wrong one before the right one. Like, is Hawthorne endgame? I mean, no, obviously not gonna be able to answer that, but like that just kind of made me just kind of go. I mean, I just kind of automatically went, right, Hawthorne's endgame in this book, but like, is he? I can't even see you right now. I've got my
We'll have
questions in
to
front of
find
me. So
out.
hopefully like you're like raising eyebrows or something. I'll have to watch it a later time. But anyway, my mind just got blown. Very exciting, very interesting. Um, all right, we answered that question. Okay. Did we also talk about what your least favorite trope is?
You know, I hate a pregnancy. I really do. Let me try to give a different answer. I also hate miscommunication.
Yes.
I hate it,
Oh,
especially like extended miscommunication about the same topic. That drives me crazy.
I feel like maybe just a very
Iron Flame.
short, yeah, exactly. I feel like just maybe a very short kind of miscommunication is fine. Like that's
Yeah,
like, oh yeah, yeah, we can, but I like it to kind of resolve itself reasonably quickly. I get very
yeah,
frustrated. I think I actually dislike a lack of forgiveness from characters where they're like, oh, I just
yeah,
can't move past that. And you're like, oh, come on. There's bigger things going on in the world. You're all
yeah,
just like trying not to die. There's clearly a reason that he did what he did. Can we just move on already?
yeah,
I think it's actually not just a miscommunication, but also a lack of forgiveness and understanding from the characters.
yeah,
I think that's actually something I think is really important in a character's who they are, and yeah, why I feel
yeah.
strongly about not loving that trope.
And I won't spend a lot of time on this, but I tried to really do that in this book. There's like several things. There's like a specific moment that I'm thinking of where Hawthorne kind of reveals something to Laurel that in many other romantasy books that would like kill the vibe, and she would be like, okay, well now I'm back to hating you, you know, we're not going to have our romance that's been building. But she's just like, you know what, I understand, like I
Mhm.
get it, all right, let's just have no more secrets, you know.
Mhm.
And when they vow that, they like really actually mean it, you know what I
Mhm.
mean. And I hate it when they're like no more secrets and they both like continue keeping secrets. It's like
Mm. Yeah.
annoying.
For sure. Okay. Can you describe what you think is the scariest type of villain? What is your favorite type of villain? Or what sort of villain do you think is the scariest version?
The scariest one is the super intelligent, super
Mhm.
planning, super plotting villain who is you know, patient and willing to let their plans take centuries maybe to be enacted. And that is, to me, that's the scariest type.
Yeah, yeah. And that is the one that I believe you are delivering
I
in
believe
this
it
book.
is.
Yeah, well and truly. And I wholeheartedly agree with that. You can have scary monsters, and they're great for action packed moments in books. But the really scary monsters are the ones that are extremely intelligent and
Yeah.
plotting, and they're taking their
Hmm.
time with the sinister kind of things that they're working towards. So,
Yeah.
absolutely. All right. What is your ultimate spice level? Mild spice, medium spice, hot spice, very hot spice, so hot you're dying, but if you had to die, it's probably a good way to go.
You know, I feel like I used to probably answer this question as like so hot you're gonna die and it's a good way to go. And I have found that the more and more I read that, the more I am getting a little, because typically for it to be so hot that you're gonna die, there's so much spice and
Mm-hmm.
it's not connected to the
Loses the
emotion. And I
story.
have been getting a little, so I'm gonna go with more like, I want it to be hot, you know? I
Mm-hmm.
want it to be hot and steamy. I want it to be a little dirty, a little kinky, but I also don't need it to be like every other chapter.
Yeah, yeah. I've actually
I
read a
don't
few
need
books recently where I have actually gotten bored with the spice, which seems very
Yeah.
strange, but it really has made me recently go, I probably am actually at the moment quite fond of a medium spice kind of book
Yeah.
where it is very emotionally charged and purposeful. It's all nice to go, oh, yeah, so great to have all this spice. But if it's not fresh and interesting and purposeful, it just becomes kind of, I don't know, sometimes
Background noise.
it's delaying from the book progressing on with the story. And sometimes you're like, yeah, okay, great. You're getting it on. Let's move on with the story. I really want to
Yeah.
know what's happening. So
Yeah.
I can really appreciate that while spice is so great, I mean, can be a great addition to the characters and the evolution of their relationships, and that I want that story to keep moving. I don't want it to suddenly lose the story or just delay the story. You want it to kind of hit that sweet spot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Major question. Is it okay to kill off a main character?
Yeah. It is.
Just, yeah. Main, kind of main. How much danger are we talking for Laurel and Hawthorne?
I think you can kill anyone. I really do. I think you can do anything you want as an author. And I think that there are, of course, conventions, and I think that like authors make promises
Mhm.
in the writing and the way that they do things. But I think that as long as you are delivering on those promises, I think you can kill anyone and do whatever you want.
Hunt. Hunt.
Yeah.
That's terrible,
Yeah,
but
I think
also
you
not
can do
terrible.
anything you want. Yeah.
Interesting. Interesting.
Mhm.
Okay, final question. Our favorite question. I know the answer, but I'm going to ask it anyway. What is the best romantic environment? Would it be a hot, humid private hideaway by a lake? Or would it be a wintry ice realm castle with a roaring fire and one bed?
It's a wintry ice realm castle.
Well done.
Yeah.
We had zero surprises there, zero chance that we were going to go with anything else. But yay, thank you. You completed our rapid fire questions. How was that,
Thank you
guys?
so much.
I hope you enjoyed that. I hope that was interesting just to hear our perspective on how we would answer our rapid fire questions ourselves.
Yeah, as an author, yeah, exactly.
Exactly,
I love
exactly.
that in classic romantic readers fashion, we were like, Oh, it'll probably only be like a 15, 20-minute episode to talk about Allie's book, and now here we are, almost an hour in.
Yeah, yeah, as we do, as we do. All right.
Yep.
So, for anyone that has listened to this episode and is super excited, would love to get their hands on a copy of your book, where can they find The Witch?
Yes. So it is available on Kindle Unlimited, which is, if you have that subscription, that's great. Unfortunately, that means the only way you can get the ebook is on a Kindle, at least for right now. In the future, I may take it off of Kindle Unlimited so that it can go on things like Kobo, but for now, that's
Mhm.
where it's at, ebook. It's also available in paperback on Amazon as well as through your local independent bookstore. So any independent bookstore, as long as they use Ingram Spark, can order it in paperback. And then there's a hardback with a dust jacket that is exclusive to my website. So you can get that there. And I will say, the Amazon version is the cheapest one, but it has no illustration and artwork. The
Mhm.
version that you buy from me and the version you buy from the independent bookstore has custom artwork chapter headers. So they are a little bit more expensive because that's just the nature. Amazon can always do things cheaper. And so I wanted to make sure that if you elected to spend a little bit more money, you got something in return.
Oh, now have you got a copy there? Can you lift it up and just show everyone so everyone can see?
This is the cover. I think the covers, I love the cover. I think it's stunning. It has, the scary potential castle of what people think the kingdom looks like. It has the blood moon, which is important to the prophecy. It's got her crown. So yeah, this is the book. I
Beautiful.
don't know if I don't think this one has the illustrations. Oh, yes, it does. So this is if you buy like the, I'm sure the audio
Oh,
listeners are like, this is so
stunning.
boring. But yeah, there's custom chapter header artwork if you buy one of the versions from me. And yours does not come with all these tabs, but these are
I'm
all of
sure
the
people
Easter
would
eggs.
appreciate that, though. I'm sure readers would be like, I would love to get my hands on the tabs to
Yeah,
see
yeah.
where those important Easter eggs are in the book. So, and as you can see,
These are
guys,
all
look
of the
at that.
Easter eggs that I need to make sure I return to in book 2. So when I say that I left a lot of clues, I genuinely mean it.
And look at that thing. It is covered in pink. It is literally like there is got to be like 100 of them there. That is amazing.
There's so many. And it's like now that I'm writing book 2, I'm like, why did I do that?
It'll pay off. It'll all be
It'll
worth
pay off.
it. It'll all
Yeah.
be worth it. I'm
Yeah.
sure your readers will be very, very thankful of the effort that you're going to with this book. So, once again, congratulations. And we are wishing you every luck and success with this book. Guys, please get it out there. Obviously, if you've got Kindle Unlimited, download yourself a copy. It is well worth a read. You can also get an actual copy on Amazon or through Allie's website. We can definitely add those to the comments below. Thank you so much for listening today, and we will see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.